Hello and welcome back to Dukascopy TV. It's time for another collaborative interview with Agefi. Today, journalist Nicolette de Joncaire is in the studio with Dominique Boehler from Commerzbank. Over to you, Nicolette.
Short ETFs offer an as precise as possible inverse participation to an equity position. Dominique Boehler of Commerzbank is here with us to comment on the structure of ETFs and their use as a hedging instrument. Dominique, welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation for coming here.
Now, how do they work, those short ETFs? And are they good to hedge equity positions?
Basically, the concept of a short ETF is very simple. If you compare a long ETF, as I take as a base, if an underlying index increases by 1% over one day, on the long ETF, you will also gain 1%. Now, the short ETF will be inverse. If the long index increases by 1%, for example, the CAC 40 from today to tomorrow, then on the short ETF, you will lose 1%. So it's the inverse performance. However, as the name says, a short ETF is to take a short position in the market. So an investor in a short ETF, he will be expecting decreasing market prices. So if you think that the CAC 40 will decrease over a period of 1 week by 5%, 10%, whatever you expect some turmoils, then a short ETF is a very attractive tool to invest in, because if the decrease in the market actually materializes, then you will generate a nice gain with that position. So that's basically the concept of a short ETF. What you do with a short ETF, actually, if we can use some technical terms, what you do actually is you take a synthetic short position on a long index. So it's a nice tool for a directional trade. Now, to answer your second question, basically, is it an attractive tool for hedging positions? Now, I would say no. I know we do have investors out there who, me personally as well, originally when the first time I heard of a short ETF, I thought, well, obviously it's a perfect tool to hedge your position, but this is not the case, because it has no leverage. So basically, if you want to hedge a position like an insurance premium, which you would buy for your house or your kitchen, your car, whatever, you do not want to invest in your insurance premium the same amount as you purchase for your car. So therefore, there's no leverage in there. So therefore, if you want to hedge a position of, let's say, 100,000 euros on a CAC 40, to have a 100% hedge, you would have to invest 100,000 euros in a short CAC 40. The nice thing about an ETF is that it has always liquidity in the market. So as soon as there's a movement in the market, you can invest in it. So basically, if you see a negative movement, then of course invest in it. But I wouldn't really use it as a hedging position. We spend a lot of time with clients on the phone explaining them the greater details why this is actually the case.
Okay, so what are the better instruments to hedge an equity position?
Well, what I would personally recommend are products with leverage factors. So in the Swiss market, we do have quite a nice choice in leverage products. Put warrants are the classic leverage product where you can nicely hedge a portfolio, or mini futures. The reason why I mention this is because you've got the leverage in there. So let's say if you want to hedge a position, to take the same example as we used before, of 100,000 exposure on a CAC 40, I would say you would probably have to spend, always depending on the market scenarios, because warrants, mini futures depend on the period of the product, the financing levels, the volatility, etc. So depending on the market situation, you might spend about 4 to maybe 7-8% of the notional of the exposure which you would have on the CAC 40. So basically, yes, it's like an insurance premium. Mm-hmm. Of course, if the market is more risky, the insurance premium will go up. You'll have to pay a bit more. But then for a certain period of the warrant, of the mini future, you will have 100% hedge.
So Dominique, if it's not for hedging a position, what do you use short ETFs for?
Well, I would say short ETF investment should be driven by a directional strategy. So basically, if you are expecting immediate or in the very near future decreasing markets, then the short ETF is one of the most attractive tools. You will not be leveraged, you will have a one-to-one inverse participation. But the nice thing is, if I may just briefly compare to other short products like a short tracker certificate, or actually even a mini future or a warrant, when the markets decrease, even strongly, the market might be in turmoil, volatilities will increase. In such situations, market makers of these structured products, they might have difficulties to send prices, or the risk might be too high, so they prefer to withdraw the pricing from the market. Now, if you compare structured products to ETFs, there's a big difference that ETF market makers, they have the obligation in the market always to show prices. Okay. So therefore, in market turmoil situations, if you can then, the market has decreased in value, you've made a nice gain on your short position, then you have a nice guarantee that you will have enough liquidity in the market to be able to liquidate your position with a respective gain, which is not always guaranteed. Usually it is, but with ETFs, you have the obligation and the security that you know you will have a market there. So therefore, for directional strategies, ETFs are very attractive tools.
Dominique, thank you very much for answering all these very technical points. And we're happy you could come to Geneva.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks.
For more interviews like this, stay tuned to Dukascopy TV.